a long time, I felt stupid learning English as an adult. Not tired, not lazy, not unmotivated, stupid. Every time I opened my mouth, there was this quiet voice in my head saying, "You should already know this. You're too old to struggle with such simple things. Other people learned this years ago. What's wrong with you?" And the worst part wasn't even English itself. The worst part was the shame. I was ashamed of my accent, ashamed of forgetting words I had already learned, ashamed of making mistakes that felt childish. So instead of speaking, I stayed silent. I watched videos, I read articles, I listened to podcasts. But I didn't speak, because speaking meant being seen, and being seen meant being judged. When you're a child, no one expects perfection from you, but when you're an adult, everything feels different. Adults are supposed to be competent, confident, in control. So when you sit there, trying to remember a simple sentence, it feels like failure. Not just a language failure, a personal one. I remember thinking, if I can't even learn English properly, what does that say about me?
And slowly, without realizing it, learning a language became a test of my intelligence.
A test I felt I was failing. I compared myself to everyone. To younger people who spoke fluently, to immigrants who seemed confident, to people on the internet who made it look easy. And every comparison made me smaller. I started believing that English wasn't the problem. I was. So I stopped trying as much, not openly but quietly. I told myself I was busy, that I'd start again later, that now wasn't the right time. But deep down, I was just protecting myself from feeling stupid again. There's something no one really talks about. Learning as an adult is emotionally harder than learning as a child. Not because adults are worse learners, but because adults are afraid of looking bad. Children fall and laugh. Adults fall and feel embarrassed. Children repeat the same mistake 10 times. Adults repeat it twice and give up. And I was no different. At some point, something shifted, not in my English, but in my thinking. I noticed something simple. Every time I felt stupid, it wasn't because I didn't understand. It was because I expected myself to already know, and that expectation was killing my progress. I realized something else too. Children don't feel stupid when they learn. They feel curious. They feel proud when they say one sentence correctly. They celebrate tiny wins. Only adults turn learning into a judgment of their worth. Suddenly, I asked myself a question. What if the problem isn't my ability, but my expectations? So I tried something different. I stopped trying to sound smart. I stopped waiting until I was ready. I allowed myself to speak badly, to pause, to search for words. And something strange happened the moment I stopped protecting my ego. I started learning faster, because I wasn't fighting myself anymore. I learned that mistakes are not proof of stupidity. They are proof of courage. Every mistake means you tried. Every broken sentence means you showed up. Silence teaches nothing. I also realized this. When you learn English as an adult, you're not just learning grammar. You're unlearning fear. Fear of judgment, fear of comparison, fear of not being enough, and that takes time. Some days, I still feel that old feeling, that tightness in my chest, that thought, I should be better by now. But now I recognize it, and I remind myself, progress is not linear. learning is not a race, and starting late is still starting. If you're watching this and feeling stupid because you're learning English as an adult, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not stupid. You are brave. You chose to begin again, to challenge yourself, to grow in a world that expects adults to already know everything. That takes courage. You don't need to sound perfect to be understood. You don't need to be fluent to be worthy. You don't need permission to learn. You just need to keep going, slowly, imperfectly, honestly. If this video made you feel a little less alone, you can like it. It really helps this channel grow. And if you want more honest conversations about learning, fear, and starting again as an adult, you're welcome to subscribe. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're just learning. I also want to talk about something people rarely admit. Sometimes, learning English as an adult feels lonely. You can be surrounded by people, but still feel like you're doing this alone. You don't always have someone to practice with. You don't always have someone who understands why this is so important to you. For others, it's just a language. For you, it's a door. A door to confidence, to freedom, to a version of yourself you haven't met yet. And when progress is slow, that door feels very far away. There were moments when I wanted to quit, not dramatically, not loudly. Just quietly stop. I told myself I didn't need English that much. That I could live without it, that it was not for people like me. But deep down, I knew the truth. I didn't want to quit because English was hard. I wanted to quit because I was tired of feeling uncomfortable. Discomfort is something adults avoid. We build lives around comfort, around routines, around things we're already good at. So when learning puts us back into the position of a beginner, it feels threatening. Like we're losing control. And I hated that feeling. I hated not knowing.
I hated asking questions. I hated sounding unsure, but learning requires all of that. One day I noticed something important. Every time I avoided speaking, I wasn't protecting my English. I was protecting my pride. And that pride was expensive. It cost me progress. It cost me confidence. So I made a decision. I decided to be a beginner. On purpose. I made mistakes, spoke simplistically, and sounded basic. And instead of judging myself, I started observing. I noticed that people were kinder than I expected. More patient. Less focused on my mistakes than I was. Most of the judgment lived in my own head. I also stopped measuring my progress by fluency. Instead, I measured it by courage. Did I speak today, even a little? Did I try, even when I was scared? Did I show up, even imperfectly? Some days, the answer was no, and that was okay too. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means returning. Learning English as an adult teaches you something bigger than language. It teaches you humility, patience. It teaches you how to sit with discomfort without running away. And that skill stays with you far beyond English. You're allowed to learn slowly. You're allowed to forget. You're allowed to try again. There is no deadline, only direction. If this video resonates with you, if you see yourself in these words, you're not alone here. This channel is for people like us, people who start again, even when it's uncomfortable. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe. You're not alone. See you next time.